more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is The Show with John Madsen.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. This is The Show, and this is the last episode in 2020. What a year. This year has been crazy since March and has not stopped being crazy all the way through the end of 2020. This is a year where some people have had massive hardship. Some people have had tragic loss. Some people have had devastation to their business. And I know a lot of people who have also had the best year of their lives. And in saying all of that, we have to acknowledge the fact that we all could exercise a little bit of empathy because different people are going through different situations, different events, and no matter what year or what time, empathy is something that we can practice, myself included. Today, I'm going to dive into my 10 biggest lessons in 2020, and I think that you are going to enjoy some of them. This is also an exercise that I'd like you to, after this show, take some of your learning lessons, put them on a piece of paper or in your notes or somewhere, and think back every single month for the past year and extract the gold that came with some of the lessons that you learned in a good way or had to learn the hard way. Now, before I get into this, guys, I'm so excited for 2021. I'm so excited. There's so much momentum that I've built with this show, with my business, in my fitness, in my family, going into 2021. I can't wait. But before I dive into the show, I want you to go over to johnmadsen.com, get on the newsletter list. It's the first page you see. If you just type in johnmadsen.com, put in your email address, you'll get on the VIP newsletter. More importantly, if you're interested in my coaching, there's a tab called the Athletic AF CEO Project. Click that tab, watch the video, and there's a schedule right on that page where you can schedule a call where we are going to break down where you're at now, where you want to be, create a championship blueprint for you free of charge. And if we believe that we can help you and you believe that this is the program for you, and make no mistake, this is not a cheap program, but if we feel like it's a fit, we'll invite you to become one of our next transformations. So that's all on johnmadsen.com. There's also a store there. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that. I want to dive into this episode because this episode is truly important. If you don't learn from your mistakes, if you don't extract the gold from your past, it's going to repeat itself. Lessons learned don't repeat themselves. So the people who can ascend the fastest are the people who can look at their situation, take the learnings, and move on. So when you write down your own list, I want you to really, really get quiet and really, really think about the lessons that have the most weight that happened in 2020 in a year that was crazy. Because if you can take that lesson and you can learn it, no matter if you felt like you failed or didn't fail, it doesn't matter. Failure does not exist if you keep fucking going. Persistence. I talked about that in the last episode. In 2021, I want you to flex your fucking persistence muscle. Every single one of you. Let's get into these lessons. Number one. First lesson of 2020 for me. Don't get exposed. Have your own fitness, finance, and family in order at all times. If this virus did one thing, and it came out of nowhere, I remember having an epic year, start of 2020. Going about my business was growing. It was growing rapidly. And I remember the 1st of March like it was yesterday. President came on the TV, said we had 15 days to flatten the curve. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And here we are at the end of December. And still, nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And the lesson I took from that is don't get exposed. Have your own fitness, finance, and family in order at all times, because here's what's going to happen, guys. Businesses are going out of business at a record pace. Not good. Not good. That is the event that's happening. Some businesses were able to pivot and have amazing years. Some industries have gotten crushed, depending on different states and different political climates. The point is, if you have your family in order, if you have your fitness in order, and if you have your finance in order at all times, you can manage the storm. You have shelter when the storm is swirling all around you and everybody else. If there's enough runway in your bank account, if there's enough runway in your fitness, if there's enough goodwill built up in your family, you can insulate yourself from the hellacious storm that's swirling around. My number one lesson is to not get exposed no matter what. This is something that I never thought I would see. Luckily, I didn't get exposed. There's so many of my friends in the fitness industry that just got fucked this year. Their gyms had to shut down. Memberships dwindled. They still had to pay rent. Luckily for me, I had a vision 2 years ago to create an online program where I really didn't need four walls. COVID for me didn't hurt, didn't help. It just was. It didn't help my business at all. I like people to go to the gym. I hate fitness done in your living room. However, if that's all we have available, we can pivot and make ridiculous transformation. It's just not my style. I don't love it. So most of my fitness programs that I run still require a person to go to the gym unless they don't have a gym. And then we can absolutely hit goals with nutritional stuff and work on people's mindset and all kinds of stuff. So the point is, while a lot of my friends are out of business because they had four walls and it got shut down and they had no runway, my learning lesson from watching other people is to not get exposed. Do not get exposed. This was a tough time on families within home learning. It was a tough time financially. It was a tough time in people's fitness. My advice to myself and everybody else is to build that up, build that runway up in all three pillars, and always have so much left over that no matter what happens, you're going to be fine, because there's going to be massive opportunity financially coming up where businesses are getting sold for pennies, where buildings are getting sold for huge discounts. Real estate, you're going to be able to gobble up. And what's going to happen is the people who are insulated and the people that have the money are going to acquire all of that for dirt cheap. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're going to be set up while you couldn't because you had no runway. So learning lesson, you got to get your shit in order. Do not get exposed. Number 2, control your perception. If you control your perception, you can control and create a magnificent life. Your perception is everything. And we all have heard if you see the glass half full, glass empty type thing, and we laugh about it and we immediately think about positivity or negativity. That's not what I'm talking here. I am, but I'm not. There's much greater understanding than glass half full, glass half empty. If you understand it like I do, yes, we can use that analogy, but people just going about their business and saying that in passing don't fucking understand it. If you can't tell, people are living two different realities outside. They literally have different perceptions of the world. Your perception is a feedback loop. If you perceive the world as cruel, if you perceive the world as unfair, if you perceive the world as unjust, guess what you're going to get? An unjust world. If you perceive a magnificent world, if you perceive that everything is happening for you, not to you, if you perceive your own magnificence, if you perceive possibility instead of problem, you will create an incredible life. The difference between people who win and people who lose, at the very root of it, is their perception. You have the choice to change it. You can believe what you want to believe. Arguing with somebody about their reality is a waste of your time because it's their perception of reality. You can control your perception and you can control your life. That's something that is universally true. That's something for me that is like just at the root of everything. If you don't take anything away from any one thing on this list, do not take this one lightly. Control your perception. Number 3, let your perception get controlled. Live a life of reaction and struggle. Goes right along with number 2. If you want to let the news media and you want to let your gossiping friends and you want to let all the bullshit that you let into your world control your perception so that it controls the way you view the world, you're just going to react and react and react, and you're always going to get an outcome that you don't want. Number 4, people don't stop people. People stop themselves. You see, there's this victimhood that is permeating society. People who believe that other people at the top are oppressing them. People that believe that they can't get what they want because another person is stopping them. This still falls into the perception category. We can argue this all day long, but my perception is not that. My perception and my takeaway is that people stop people. People buy into that. People buy into their own victimhood. People want to be victims so they can talk about how they're victims. They don't want to get rid of the victimhood. They don't want a different mentality. Therefore, another person is not stopping them. They're stopping themselves. People don't stop people. People stop themselves. Number 5, desire makes discipline easy. This has been my jam in 2020. This is at the root of my teaching. This is one of my fundamental beliefs about success. With enough desire, the discipline is easy. If you have no desire, I can't give you heart. That was a whole last episode. There was a whole section on there. I can't give you the heart. I can't make you want it. If the desire is great enough, you'll do whatever it takes. The discipline just becomes something that you want to do. Yeah, sure, there's days I don't want to go to the gym. I have so much desire to look, feel, and perform like a champion, though. If I don't go, I feel like shit. If you don't care or you're trying to do it for somebody else, you're going to struggle because your discipline will break. My discipline will break. But with the presence of desire, that makes the discipline easy. Number 6, there's a lot of pussycats out there. Very few lions. There's a lot of followers. There's a lot of followers out there. There's a lot of victims out there. There's a lot of excuse makers out there. And maybe you're driving down in your car, you're in the gym right now, and you're writing notes. And you think to yourself you're a lion, and you think to yourself that you're courageous, and you think that you walk with faith. But if you really analyze it, and you really analyze the way that you move about the world, the way that you move about your family, the way that you move about your finances, you're afraid, and you're riddled by failure, the fear of failure. You got to check yourself. I had to check myself because there was a moment in my life years ago where everything was everybody else's fault. I wrote a post and did a podcast about forgiving Lane Kiffin. See, that was just a microcosm of everything else. I believed it was Lane Kiffin's fault. This falls back into people stop themselves. I was stopping myself. Lane Kiffin didn't stop me. This goes right in alignment with this right here. I was playing victim. In 2020, the people who won had to have massive courage. In 2021, this is not going to change. You got to start thinking for yourself. You got to stop being indoctrinated by the higher powers that be, and you just go along with it. If you and you alone are going to be responsible for the way your family navigates 2021, you got to be fucking ferocious, and you got to think for yourself. You got to get out of the crowd and stand on your own 2 feet. Have courage. Number 7, at the root of all problems is the inability to control your emotional state. This is huge. Again, fundamental to success on all levels. Your emotional state is going to dictate your behavior. The biggest predictor of your behavior is your emotional state. If you're in a negative emotional state, guess what? You're going to make the wrong choices more than you make the right ones. If you make the wrong choices more than you make the right ones, you're going to get the outcome that you don't want more than you get the outcome that you do want. Controlling and learning to control your emotional state and knowing that it's a state of mind, knowing how to pattern interrupt when you're spiraling out of control. Having your emotional state controlled at all times puts you in control of almost every situation, because 99% of people cannot and will not acknowledge the fact that they are responsible for their own emotional state, and they don't know how to stop the spiral. They don't know how to control it. And so if you are one of the person or the only person in the room that can control your emotional state, and you can put yourself in a positive emotional state, you're going to do the right behavior more times than you do the wrong behavior, and you're going to get the outcome that you want. Controlling your emotional state is everything. It's absolutely everything. How else do you control your emotional state? You know what it feels like to get a great workout in. You know, even if you don't feel like going, you know what it feels like after. You can change your physiology, which can change your emotional state by moving. So part of the way you can control your emotional state is actual exercise. The other way you can control your emotional state is the thoughts that you're thinking and what you choose to focus on. Again, going all the way back to perception. You see, I can tie all these things down to probably one or two things, but I wanted to give you 10 so that you can start thinking about what you learned in 2020. Because what I learned is relevant to me. Hopefully it helps you while you're listening to this show. But at the end of the day, you got to know what you learned. Number 8. Purpose is one hell of a drug. Purpose is one hell of a drug. I can't take credit for this. This was one of my mentors. Purpose is one hell of a drug. If you're on fire, it's not hard for me to wake up in the morning. It's not hard for me to go to the gym. Again, this is my desire, but I'm living a purposeful life. Getting up at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning to do victory hour, to me, like I'm so ready to wake up and attack the day because I'm on purpose. I'm on purpose. Yes, nobody's perfect. I'm not a robot. Sometimes you don't feel like getting out of bed, right? But if you take my example and you compare it to somebody else who hates their job and isn't really loving their spouse or their situation, and it's just this depressive, saddened, emotional state at all times because they're not moving the needle in the direction that they want to move it. Those people are going to have a hard time getting themselves into a positive emotional state because there's no purpose behind what they're doing. Purpose. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you want to do. Think about what you want to create. Live your life on purpose. Because once you start doing that, everything else is easy. Everything else is easy. You want to go to work. You want to do the thing that other people don't want to do. You want to move the needle. Purpose fuels you. Without purpose, again, the discipline is going to crumble. Number 9, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. This learning lesson, oh my God, this learning lesson is so big. If you want to shorten the time from you struggling to you succeeding, really, literally, the one thing you have to do is find somebody who's doing what you want to do and pay them whatever to figure it out. In the last month alone, I've already done a podcast on this, so I'm not going to hammer this one as much as I normally would. I literally have spent over $100K in the last 30 days on coaches. Why? Because I want to learn these skills necessary for me to take my business and life to the next level. Whether it's fitness or business, or I join this real estate mastermind because I want to learn from the best, I want to pay somebody to teach me. Yeah, you could go on YouTube and you could search this. You could search and watch 1 million videos for free, and you could read 1 million books. In fact, I urge you to enhance your knowledge any way possible. But if you want to go fast and you want to figure this shit out fast, investing in yourself is the surest way to elevate your self-image, because you're telling your unconscious mind that you're fucking worth it, that you're willing to put your hard-earned dollars into yourself because you know that it's going to have massive ROI. Like I said, Somebody else might cash my check at their Wells Fargo or their Citibank, but guess who's going to get all the ROI? Guess who's going to recoup all the interest? I am. They might cash my check, but I'm going to get all the ROI on it. Investing in yourself is something that for me, I'm going to continue to do every single year, and I'm going to try to invest more money every single year on more coaches so that I can continue to accelerate and speed up the process from where I am now to where I want to go. And I suggest you do the same, whether it's fitness, whether it's business, or whatever else you want to improve in your life. And number 10, health is the most valuable asset you own. And don't get it twisted. You are solely responsible for your own health. You are responsible for your health, not the government, not the president, not anybody else. You're responsible for your health. Most of the stuff that people are struggling with are self-inflicted. There's this whole other study in biology where years ago, everyone thought that genetics was just going to be the thing. Like, you can't control your genetics, and if you were born with a certain thing, like, that was just bad luck. You couldn't do anything about it. But now this study about epigenetics and this thought that genetics kind of load the gun, but your environment, your thoughts, all of those things pull the trigger. Like, that's proven and cannot be unproven. So less than 5% of the diseases that are, terrible are solely genetic. Our environment, our thoughts, our food, our water is pulling the trigger. Our lack of sleep, the fact that we don't even breathe, the fact that we're overstressed. You get to control your health. You might not think you do, but you solely are responsible for your health. One of my biggest takeaways in 2020 is that people were getting exposed in their fitness, and it's unfortunate, and I feel terrible about it, and it's my mission to help them change that. But you are responsible for you. You are responsible for you. And in 2021, there should be no other thing at the top of your resolution list than getting your fucking health in order, because you deserve it, and you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your family. And you have to figure that out, because it's not hard. It's literally not hard. Get that in order. Be the best you possibly can be. Your body is a microcosm of everything else in your life. You owe it to yourself. You're slapping yourself in the face for walking around in a body that doesn't shine bright. Last one, bonus. Whether you win or lose, it's up to you. Not many people get that. But arguing with them about that is a complete waste of time. People will die for their victimhood. This goes back up to the point number 6 I made. There is a lot of people who believe that they can't win because of something outside of themselves. Whether you win or lose is up to you. In 2021, I want to help as many people win as possible. I want my friends to win as big as possible. I want to do big deals with my friends. I want everybody to have incredible health and incredible wealth. And I want everybody I know to win. I want you to win. I want you to want to win. The reason I think it's easy to win right now, and I'm not discounting the fact that business is hard sometimes, you got to learn lessons, but the reason I believe that winning is easy in the end is because most people just don't want it. Most people don't have the desire. And if you do have the desire, and you can run with a pack of lions, and you can run with people who inspire you, and you can run with people who pull you up, and you can flex on courage and persistence, it's only a matter of time. Maybe it doesn't happen in 2021. Maybe it happens in 2025. But the point is, if you make the decision right now that you owe it to yourself to become the very best version of you, and that every single day you owe it to yourself to get a little bit better, you're going to win. You're going to win. 97% of people are going to lose, but 3% of you are going to win, because showing up and never quitting, no matter what it takes, is the exact recipe that you're going to need to win every single year. I want you to win in 2021. I can't wait to continue this podcast to bring more value in 2021. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Please, if this resonated with you, share it with somebody. Share it with somebody. That's how we grow. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. We will see you, or I will talk to you again in 2021.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Show.